love that intro. Hi, everyone. Welcome to D&K Podcast. Yes, we're back, and we're definitely back to, of course, celebrate our America's semi-quincentennial. Okay, that's 250 years that America's experiment has still lasted. And of course, thank goodness we have Trump in office. So we got to celebrate it in the definite MAGA, over and above and beyond what you would ever expect. The celebration that he had was really amazing with amazing artists. And then you had, the different military, bands and performances. And that
Jets, helicopters, jets,
everything,
ships, you name it.
yes, from every part of the military. We also had veterans there. What was the I can't remember the war he fought in, but the veteran that was 107 years old, he fought in, was it Iwo Jima, I think?
Yeah.
And of course, he stood and saluted as the national anthem played, and it was amazing. It was very, very patriotic, and anyone who is just wanting that dose of patriotism needs to go back and watch it, because you can find it almost anywhere. But it is also, I'm wondering if it's actually going to get in the Guinness Book. Hopefully it does. But it was the biggest fireworks show in history.
Like Trump said, the world's greatest fireworks show.
He was not lying either, as usual.
850,000 munitions or something, whatever it was.
Yes, and if we can find the video, there's actually a speed up minute-long video of the whole firework display. So if we could play that real quick, full screen.
Wow. They must have sped it up big time, because there it is.
It just kept going and going and going and going. They're at the end, though. And of course, it's going to go so fast you can't see it in all its brilliance. But at the end, it was so bright. It was like it was just flashing big white lights.
Yeah, and it was loud, and it was incredible. And I also thought, while we're watching that, some other cities stepped up to the plate on their fireworks. Nashville had one of the biggest ones ever. Good for them.
Yes.
Of course, New York had a good one, even though the guy over there was trying to make them keep their ACs on 78 or 80 because they love socialism so much.
That's it. Oh, I'm glad that you still can see, the impact to me at the end, just with the impact of just bam, like right in your face. I love that. That was amazing. And to me, I mean, fireworks shows are amazing anyway. And you just, you kind of get happy. You see the colors and all the kids are happy and everybody's just in a joyful mood. But like there was a whole different tone with this one. It was just, and the building of it and playing the songs with the military singers singing it. And they sang incredibly, by the way. Sometimes I couldn't even tell. For a second, I was thinking it was the original artist. Like they did a really, really good job. So I enjoyed it.
Top level, everything. Top level.
It really, really was. And so Trump actually had a breakdown of kind of the overview of the whole celebration, and I think we also have that clip. I think it's number 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the crowd at 7:05 in the evening was 422,000 people. We all were focused to leave because of the weather. The event was canceled, and everyone was gone because of the lightning. When I heard that it was canceled, I immediately overturned that decision and waited a while for people to come back. Incredibly, at least 150,000 people returned, and it was an even more spectacular evening it would have been as normalized. It showed work under pressure. Congratulations to the Secret Service and law enforcement on being able to get so many people back into the arena in such a rapid fashion. It was an amazing evening, made even more spectacular spectacular by the fact that immediately after the great fireworks ended, the rains came down full blast. President Donald J. Trump.
And what was so cool before all that, he said, I'm still going to get up and do the longest speech that anybody's ever done.
Which that speech was really, really
which
good.
he does.
Too.
But what was so very cool is the night before he did a speech.
Yes.
And it was Mount Rushmore, another incredible fireworks show.
Yes.
And he did a super long speech that night. And we all know what his theme is. We'll get into that in a little while. But
yes,
we know what his theme is looking forward, what all of our theme is right now looking forward.
And I think we need to keep that same mentality in mind, like every day as we're going. We're really at a pivotal point in our country and the time of the year on Earth right now.
Yes.
And if we don't pay attention to what's happening again, like as we say, we're going to lose it. But, as some reports coming out about young people wanting to move towards, socialism and, communism and all this stuff, we still have a good amount, I would almost say equal amount of the same age group that know the importance of keeping America the way it is and keeping going forward from here, because we will not be the world's, superpower, number one, if we lose that. And number two, we're not going to be able to, just like what a lot of these people want, the free stuff, I kind of laugh about that. But I mean, they also want peace on earth, which is what they claim. Well, with America being the superpower, we can help create that just in the way that we are as a country, just naturally. Yeah. If we go the other way, it's not going to happen.
Because we have the freest country.
Yes.
And we always have, I will say that, we always have. And there's always been a generation swing towards socialist, which is not quite communism, but close.
Yes. It's and like they're soft.
There's always like a generation swing, and they're swinging. But what they don't realize, it's not about all the rights that we have. It's what we will not have.
Exactly.
If you go communism.
Yes.
You will not have any of that. Yes, they're going to push the free this, free healthcare, all that stuff that's never worked in the history of any country, including this one. There's 10 million people today, as of today, on my way over here, without power in Cuba, which is a communist country.
Yes. And there's even certain states that have tried this for like free health care and, free rent and all this stuff, because we have states' rights. So
absolutely.
Thank goodness that we do. And so you can experiment with that if you want to move to those states, but then you experience that and you realize, oh, this really isn't a good thing. So to be honest with you, it actually, in a way, it doesn't hurt it so bad. If they would just go experience that in those states, they would see what we are talking about. They're either going to love it, and if you do, I don't know why, because that means that probably means that you're the freeloader that's just accepting the help. But at the same time, when you don't realize that that is keeping you enslaved to the government, and you're not waking up, and it just doesn't work. That's why in the history of the world where it's been tried, it never works. It always fails, and people die.
And our republic, which is what we are, started with limited. Our belief was limited government. That's still our belief.
Yes.
That's the conservative beliefs. There's a reason for that. The bigger the government gets, the bigger the problems get.
Exactly.
And the less attention that they care about the people. And that's without being ugly. That's just true.
Yes.
Okay. You get free health care, or whatever you want to call it, even if it's not free, whatever they call it in Canada, when it takes 1 to 2 years to get an appointment, to go to the doctor. Nobody wants to do that here.
No.
They just think that because they're 16 to 34 years old. And for the most part, except for the really far left lunatics who are pushing it on purpose as an agenda simply because they don't like our president now. There's no
Right.
other reason. Because, if you dug deep down with them, if you were at a bar and they were at a tavern drinking, they probably wouldn't. They would say, you know what? We don't really believe in that. We just hate Trump,
Yeah.
which is
It'll
sad,
come out.
which is sad.
It really, and it is sad. It's sad that you're going to completely move your beliefs and push it onto other people simply because you don't like the person in charge.
I can say
Simply.
this. I was one of the ones, including our producer, Frank, in there. We have made it for the spirit of 76, 1976, not 1776. We're not that old. But 1976 and 2026, those were two magical moments that I was able to live.
Yes.
I'm happy. I remember cars, trucks. They even had the Spirit of 76 package on the car, the details, down the
Nice.
side, Spirit of 76. Drinks, Coca Colas, whatever it was. It was the Spirit of 76. Now, of course, I was a child, but I do remember it.
Right.
And then to be able to hit the whatever you called it, because that was the
Semi
bicentennial.
quincentennial?
Yeah. Yeah. At the time of the bicentennial, I was young, and I couldn't even imagine the year 2026 back then. I might have been watching the Jetsons, and it was
There you go.
maybe a little
Yeah, I
similar,
like the Jetsons too.
but that was a little similar to what it is now.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit,
Yeah.
but
At least probably half of the stuff in
yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah,
At
definitely.
least
Talking to people on basically, which is now
robots that help you with your
FaceTime.
chores and yeah.
I mean, and robots that vacuum. We have
We
that.
have, actual hoverboards
Oh,
just
yeah.
like they did to travel and
And if you walk in the store up here next to Love's Truck Stop in the name Quick Trip, you go in there. If it's late at night, there's a robot vacuuming, and she's like, "Would you please excuse me?" I'm like,
I
"Huh?
haven't
What did you
experienced
say?"
that. I may have to
And
just
then she bumps
specifically
into me.
experience that.
"Excuse me, I'm vacuuming." I'm like, "I know, I know.
Excuse
I'm just
me.
trying to get a hot dog." But yes,
Wow.
so
I'm gonna have to experience that one
yeah,
night.
it's pretty wild. I'm like, they have one. They said that they send to different stores for a few months at a time in
Okay.
certain regions. But yeah, I've experienced it a few times. And that one happens to be a female voice. She'll let you know if you're in her way.
I know it's not like she'll just move out of your way.
And
She's like,
she's like,
"Excuse me."
excuse me, I'm vacuuming. I'm like, yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But back to
That's
what you were
hilarious.
saying. Yes, it was huge, as Trump would say, huge
Huge.
weekend.
Yes.
And I saw so many people celebrating July 4th that like I haven't seen in a while, physically talking to them about how important America is and how important right now in our history books is to hold on to this country
Yes.
because they're coming from different directions and a lot of different countries to take over this country.
Yeah.
A lot of different religions. I'm not going to get into all that. A lot of different religions. You have the right to whatever religion you want, but they're coming from all directions for our Constitution
Mhm.
and
And I mean, it's
our.
the same reason why you've got immigrants from all over the world that are now illegal immigrants that are trying to get into our country because of what our country has to offer.
The
They're trying
American
to,
dream.
yeah, they want the American dream. But the thing is, the way anyone, I don't care if you're a naturally born citizen or not, you have to work for your American dream. You cannot just come in and take advantage because eventually that dream will be gone.
Exactly.
It's not just money does not grow on trees, and
And all
people
these
need to learn
people that
that.
have built empires did come in the right way.
Yes, yes.
So that,
Well,
you know.
I know one thing though. He had an amazing. I think what that speech was like 35 minutes long or
Yeah, and I
something
think he
like
did one
that.
like 45 the night
Maybe
before.
four. Yeah, yeah, that's right. But I saw a couple of really good clips from his speech. One of them was just basically the idea that our founders had initially of starting this country, and he kind of breaks it down of really their vision for the country. So we have a clip there.
People have done more good, shown more courage, made more progress, righted more injustice, or achieved more greatness than you, the American people. For 250 years, the United States of America has been the hope, the promise, the light, and the glory among all of the nations of the world. All over the world, they try and be like us. Nobody can be like us. And with God's help, we will always be this or even better. We're going to be better. Here on our National Mall, we're celebrating freedom's triumph over tyranny, liberty's conquest over oppression, and the enduring victory of the American spirit from the July 4th, 1776 to July 4th, 2026. Big dates. That's big dates. Two big ones. And tonight our country is stronger, freer, richer, safer, and prouder than ever before. But it all started with the miracle of history that lives forever in the heart of every single patriot. In Philadelphia, our founding fathers summoned the courage of giants and the wisdom of centuries to boldly proclaim these timeless truths. They declared that all men are created equal.
I love it.
That's right.
Yes. And I mean, we need to be reminded of that every single year. And it's again bringing back small short point, but this is why it matters who we elect. It matters what their values are deep down. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's without sin, of course. But
Absolutely not.
I would rather have someone like Trump, who is a sinner, obviously, has done things, in the past that's not perfect, but he comes back, knows that he's done wrong, and wants to better everyone's future. And he sees the American dream. He sees what it can be and what it's going to take for us to keep it. So that's why it matters. I know, of course, we only got a couple of years left with Trump, so we need to be steadfast in figuring out who is going to be next, because it really, really matters. And of course, segueing into my next issue that I want to talk about, he did actually mention
Yeah.
he did actually mention a little bit about one of our bills that needs to pass in the Senate to help us get that and achieve that goal.
I'm going to talk about that every day, by the way.
Yes, and it needs to be talked about. So we have a clip. It was
Never before.
there towards the end of this.
America is back, and we want to keep America great, and we will do so by approving the Save America Act, which means all voters must show voter ID. All voters must provide a little thing called proof of citizenship. And there will be no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. And you won't have cheating on the elections anymore. It's very simple.
I mean, as it should be. As it should already be, right? But
I mean, those things that we're talking about, it is unbelievable. And right now, there's so many obscure reports because Mitch McConnell is supposedly, allegedly still in the hospital. Some people say he's not breathing anymore.
I've heard he's officially brain dead.
Right. Now, if this is the case, by August 3rd, he will be replaced. And apparently, John Thune is talking to him, and those are two of the very two people, uno dos, that are against the
Mhm.
Save America Act.
Right.
I
And
don't want
so
anybody to pass away. I feel bad for him,
I don't
but
either.
his wife immediately went to China. Immediately started talking to the leader, the vice president, whatever they call the vice president there, of China. Now, what is she talking to him about?
I don't know, but if you look, I mean, really, I'm not doing a deep dive today,
No, I'm not
but
either.
hey, just look up and do a deep dive
Oh, I know.
of McConnell's wife and her connections to
Elaine
China.
Chao. That's
Yes,
right. That's
her
where she's from.
connections, her not just where she was born, but her actual connections to the Communist Party there in China.
CCP.
I mean,
And that's where she went to when he was supposedly in the hospital a few days back. Well, a week or so ago.
yeah, and I mean, if you had family members and you had a wife that truly cared about you,
Why
you don't
would
need to be in that type of position in the type of health that he's in.
Mhm.
And I can tell you one thing.
And they're not allowing anybody in there to see if he's
No.
even in any sort of health.
No, and I can't believe we're getting any type of reports because the last I heard, reporters and everybody were trying to ask everybody that's connected to him, his handlers, his Secret Service. Nobody was giving
Well,
out
I
any
don't know the
information.
name, but if you look around on TikTok, if you look around on X, and if you look around on Facebook, there is a Chinese girl who was born and raised here as an American. Her parents moved here before she was born, obviously, but she's doing great reporting, and she has been at that hospital for almost 3 weeks without leaving. She sleeps in her car there.
Wow.
So she's getting some updates somehow. She must be friends with a nurse or a hospital person.
What's sad
Whatever.
is that us as the American people, because these are people that really
Affect
have
our
impact
lives.
in our lives that maybe not we directly voted for, but as a whole, they make decisions for us, for all of America. We all deserve to know.
That's right.
It should never be hush, hush, hush. I say that about Trump. I said that about Biden. I've said that about so many people that we know. There's still people even in the Senate right now
Still,
that I'm
yeah.
just like,
Well, we're talking about one of them.
yeah. I mean, they're so important to the way that we are able to run our lives and businesses and everything that we do. Sad enough to say, because government has gotten so big,
Exactly.
they've become more of an important and powerful role in our lives, which means even more transparency should be,
And this
the
party,
issue.
if you want to call it a Republican party, the Republicans rather, was started against big government. And now
Yes,
they're
I
doing
know.
exactly the same thing.
I know.
But
only a handful are not.
what Trump said, this also important when you go on the other end of the spectrum. We talked about the DSA, whatever they're calling themselves, the Socialist Party. He threw the mainstream news, which is nothing new, into a frenzy when he dropped the truth nuke in his speech. Was, you can be loyal to Karl Marx, or you can either be loyal to America. You can either be a communist or you can be a patriot, but you can't be both.
No, that really is the truth.
You can't be
It's
both.
really the truth, because
So you need to pick
it's on
a side.
polar opposite ends.
You need to
You
pick
can't
a
support
side.
both. And we should have, we definitely have the right to know if that is your belief system, because, okay, honestly, if it is, run that way. Be open and transparent. If it's so popular and you think everybody's just behind it, be transparent. Don't act like you're one way and be another way. Just tell us what you are, because if it is so popular and you think everybody wants to vote for it and everybody wants it, then it shouldn't matter.
Exactly.
I was about to bring that clip up. Save
Let's
that.
talk about that.
So yeah, so this is Mike Johnson.
Right.
He has a pathway forward that he thinks
Right.
to get the Save America Act passed. So go ahead with that.
We'll take any
attempted to tie the Save America Act with the National Defense Authorization Act for the Senate to take up. Johnson says he's now exploring other options to move the voter ID bill forward.
It is possible. We've got 2 or 3 different ideas on how to make the Save America measures fit into the budget reconciliation process. One of the ways to do it is to create a grant program to incentivize states to enact election integrity measures. There are other ways as well. We're discussing all those. That is going to be a big component of what we send to the Senate.
Hey, look, we'll take it. And I'm glad he didn't say what it was called either, what the other ways were. I'm glad he didn't give the Democrats any hints.
Yeah.
The Democrats.
Yes. Well, I mean, because truly it should just go on merit anyway. So
absolutely.
Yeah, if you're for it, do it. I'm just saying. And I mean, so I do have another clip that I think is kind of funny, because there was a period of time very recently that the Democrats actually believed in showing your ID. And Anna Paulina Luna stood up and reminded everybody that the Democrats were the first ones recently that wanted everyone to show their ID, of course, for a different reason. But can we play that clip of
take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people
I went a
favor it.
little out of order.
82% of Latino. 76% of Black.
The gentlewoman from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My colleagues are spending a lot of time lecturing the American people on how this is going to require you to show your papers. But last time I checked, during COVID, they demanded that if you simply wanted to go to a funeral, be with your loved ones while they were dying, or get married, you had to show your papers. In fact, in New York City, they were literally asking you for your COVID passport. Yet the Save America Act, a common sense piece of legislation that requires 2 things, voter ID plus proof of citizenship, is being labeled by people in the Senate and people in this very chamber as Jim Crow era laws. Well, let me remind the American people of history. It was the Democrat Party that championed the Jim Crow era laws. And this is the farthest thing from it. In fact, if you're doing that, you're insulting over 70% of your voters, Democrats, who believe that voter ID is the best way to secure an election. Then we have the argument that you have from Blue Anon saying that Trump is trying to steal the election and Orange Man bad, and this is somehow going to fix the midterms. But the fact is that if we are going to play that game, then you would want voter ID and you would want to secure the elections. So please support this legislation. I do not believe that Barack Obama, in showing his voter ID, was engaging in Jim Crow era law or pushing that type of perspective. And for the same people that are advocating, saying that Kristi Noem and ICE will demand your personal information and you will be under surveillance, let I remind them that they actually all authorized the reauthorization of FISA, unreformed, that violated your constitutional rights. So this is pretty simple. If you are not an American, you do not get to vote in our elections. This is not a free-for-all country. A majority of Americans support this. A majority of the world has voter ID in place. It is not racist. I appreciate my colleagues and the House admin for doing this, and I support all of my colleagues and urge them to vote for this piece of legislation. I yield my time.
I love her. But that's all true. And even recently, the big, huge Obama library that cost all this money, and he still owes the contractors money. All this big thing, a comedian, an actor, one of the very few actors, I can't think of which one it was, sorry, very few. He may not be Republican or conservative, but he's independent, put it that way. He got invited to it, so he had his invitation, so he put it on film, or he put it on his phone, rather, on video. When he walked up, he goes, the security at the event said, you have to have an ID to get in. He goes, oh, I thought y'all were against the Save America Act.
This is true. This is true.
So they're preaching about you don't need an ID, but then they turn around, these same elites, and they won't even let you in the gate to their homes without an ID.
Oh, exactly.
How pathetic.
I mean, it's the same argument as, and I think somebody, I can't remember who it was trying to get these illegal immigrants to go and stay at Nancy Pelosi's home.
Right.
And she was, I mean, they were having to like call the police and all this kind of stuff. I mean, I'm not advocating for that, but it is funny. Like, oh, we're supposed to be okay with you letting all these, with no background checks, no kind of
Nothing.
research on them at all. Just let them just out in our cities and in our neighborhoods. But you don't want 3 random immigrants coming and living in your house. Okay, it seems a little hypocritical.
Oh yeah, they won't even let them mow their grass. It's that pathetic.
No, it really it's so ridiculous. But
But look, that's the way elitists work, regardless
yes.
of what their political affiliation is. Unfortunately, it
Well,
really is.
One of the clips that accidentally popped up there is one of them that I think is hilarious. So in America, let's see what CNN's poll says of how popular this bill is. Pull up the poll.
Take a
real
look
quick.
here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
So something of a non.
Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it then.
I do love that guy that does that, though.
I do too.
I mean, he's the cool thing. He's not Republican, Democrat, conservative.
No,
he's straight down the middle.
He's not
whatever the facts are, but he's just so like, bam,
boom, bam, shaboom. But again, we go back to common sense. Who would not want that?
Yeah, it's
ridiculous. That's exactly like asking somebody. This is the last time I'm going to talk about it today. It's exactly like asking somebody, hey, you're taking a flight today, Kim, to Dallas, Texas. But by the way, we're not going to check anybody's ID, even though there could be somebody on there with a bomb. We're still not going to ask them for their ID.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's how stupid it is.
It really is. I mean, if we did that across the board, it would be so unsafe anyway. But it's unsafe to have, people who are not American citizens vote because, number one,
cheating.
We consider you illegal for a reason. And I mean, people can cry and moan and complain about that, but we consider you illegal for a reason. It's because you have no skin at all in the game. You don't have paperwork to make sure that if you go do something wrong, we can come back and get you, and it keeps the people around you safe for you and others.
And technically, every country, if you're not from there, you can't vote there. And that's the way it is here.
It's really almost like, what if I visited
the exact definition of cheating?
So what if I visited Mexico during an election period and waltzed my butt right on in there and just voted? Do you think that they would be okay with that?
No, wouldn't happen.
Seriously. What if I just walked over the border? Like, no paperwork, no anything. Just walked
over
the border.
Go to China and try to vote.
Let me go to China. Of course, they don't really have that type of election. So, I mean.
Yeah, theirs is more.
Let me go to Ukraine.
Great
okay.
Communist.
Let me go to Europe.
China's more like Iran. It's just whatever you do, they don't care because they're the boss.
Yeah.
They're communists.
Real, but I'm trying to think. You go to Finland. Okay. Right. Let's go to Finland. Let's just waltz right into Finland. No papers, no anything. Let's just go ahead and vote too. And let's sit there and complain and protest that we don't have the right to vote in their country.
Poland, they're going to be like, bye-bye.
That's my point.
Russia.
It's like
Vladimir Putin's going to be like, bye-bye.
And everyone there would say what we're saying. It's like, you don't live here. You're not a citizen of this country. You don't get to choose who makes decisions for us with you not living here as a citizen. Now they'll say, I have a house down the street that I've been staying at for 12 years. Doesn't matter. Number one, you're not on the tax roll. You don't have legal rights here. And I still say the biggest group of people that it really offends are the legal immigrants who did all the steps and paid all the money and all the time away from their family in other countries who couldn't come visit them to make it to where that they could be a citizen.
And some of them
They're
still
so
can't
proud
come visit
of
them.
it. and I'm proud of them.
Yeah.
Like recently here in I don't know if it was Jackson or Mississippi. I don't know. It was very local though. There was like 19 that were immunized, here
Right.
as legal citizens. And I mean, the cool thing is to read the comment section from there. It's just like, we're so happy you're here. Me too. At least you're trying to assimilate,
Yeah, because without the Save America Act, there's no way for that to happen.
No,
It's just not.
no. And it actually does give less of a pull to get your American citizenship if you can just come over here and vote anyway. I mean,
Exactly.
because that is one of the rights that we grant to our citizens.
And they need to reel in. We can talk about it till next week. It needs to be election week, election day, not week, not month.
Exactly. Which that kind of brings me to some of these. There were some good and there were some bad decisions made in the Supreme Court. And of course, one of the biggest ones recently that, in my opinion, goes in the negative column would be the birthright citizenship, kind of what we were just discussing.
To the negative. Because
at the same time I was talking about waltzing into Finland to vote for somebody, I could waltz into Finland pregnant, have a child, and then our whole family's, citizens now can go vote. No, you can't do that either. And the Constitution did not say that anyone from any country can come over here and have a child and then they are now an American citizen. That is not, you read the papers from back then when that amendment was passed, it was obviously, and I love that Judge Thomas actually pointed this out, which I have a clip, which we'll play in a second, but he points that out saying in the papers from the, from the ruling, it says, now the children of slaves will be able to have citizenship here. That was the whole point, because they were treated as property and not as people and citizens.
And
here
it's
in America.
also big business. These ladies from wherever, China, Thailand, they come over, they have a baby here. Right. That baby is automatically a citizen here. Yeah. Because they don't ever check. There's none of that going on. So first of all, Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, they need to book.
Yes.
See ya.
Yes.
I'm done with them. That's my rant for the day.
Well, I do have a clip though. It's Shannon Bream. She's reading out the dissent from Judge Thomas. Can we play that clip?
Back to Shannon Bream for the view from Justice Thomas, who was a dissenter here. Shannon.
Yeah, in his dissent, he gets to that point, Bill, that you're making there. The 14th Amendment was enacted in the wake of the Civil War, quote, with the one pervading purpose of securing equal citizenship for the freed slaves. He writes, it was enacted, as Justice Harlan wrote, to secure to a race recently emancipated the civil rights that other citizens enjoyed. So Thomas has always been about that was the purpose of the 14th Amendment. He goes on to say that the court, meaning the majority now, has repurposed the 14th Amendment to protect its own set of preferred rights that the Reconstruction Congress never contemplated and that cannot find support in the text. Today, the court does so by recognizing a constitutional right to citizenship for the children of all foreign birth tourists and illegal aliens. He uses very specific language there. Again, Justice Thomas adhering and agreeing with the government's argument, with which they made here very passionately, that the 14th Amendment was about protecting the children of freed slaves and not what we've come to understand it as. You see his language there. He mentions birth tourism. It came up in the arguments, and clearly that's a very big concern of the dissenters. We also have dissents by Justice Alito and others, so we'll read those as well.
So, yeah. I mean,
that was a huge future thing, because when they do their writings and all that, and they write it's almost impossible to make it happen again in a lifetime, in a generation.
Yeah, it is. Now, sometimes though, I think Trump has, adverted to the fact that if we can pass stuff like the SAVE Act, some of that stuff can, that's why there's a balance. We're not run by courts here in America. We're also not run by one person.
Or two.
Or two. We all have a balance of power. And if one has possibly messed up, another one can fix it. So it's not that that's just gone forever. It can be fixed within the Congress by making a law that says, hello,
Right.
only citizens of America who have babies here can have naturally born citizen. If you come from another country, you have to go through the process. Your children have to go through inside your documentation through the process. If you have a baby here, then your baby is going to have to be added to the process, but not given automatic naturalized rights.
No.
And it's just ridiculous.
And also, if we write legislation in, then yes, something can be done.
Right.
But if we do not win the House or the Senate,
right, that's the key.
And honestly, this time, not the old Daryl fear mongering, just the truth.
No.
This time it's. I mean, I just can't tell you how important it is that we have to treat it like the 2024 presidential election.
Exactly.
Too
Come
big
out for it
to
the
rig.
same way.
Yeah.
Same way.
Too big to rig. Everybody's got to go out and make that happen. I mean, seriously.
Yes. And I mean, right now, start talking to people, just like we said before in that presidential election. Go out, make sure your neighbors are voting, make sure, this talk needs to happen, because it happened before. Actually, it's happened a couple of times. But we know for sure that it was at least, not rigged because it was so big, right? That it's happened a couple of times. Just all of you coming out to vote. The mass number of actual legitimate votes that can't be taken away, that's going to be how we keep this, because it's going to be a hard struggle no matter what. In the next few years, we're going to have to vote this way over and over and over again, because it's going to have to go probably a full generation before we start getting things more on track. And we have to pass laws that are going to have better safeguards for the fraud and the cheating that we know happens, and have better ways to handle that in real time, which that's the other part of this that I don't really like about election laws, is that there's not a lot of stuff that can be done when you see cheating happen in real time. You have to get it on the back end. To me, that's a little ridiculous. I think there needs to be, when we bring these laws in, bring the laws in where you have the oversight that's an official, and when they see it or it's brought to their attention during the election, during the day, the one day, right? During that election, crazy things happening, it can be shut down right then and investigated right then. Because if you give them time, they're going to be able to cover it up. Or if it comes out, it's going to come out so far down the road that it's not going to matter.
It's going to be too late.
It's going to be too late.
And that's what happens in a lot of stuff.
Yes.
By the time, whatever it is, big election, whether it be midterms or regular term or senator terms or House terms, whatever it may be, it's too late by the time it scars that person's reputation, but it didn't do anything else.
Right.
It doesn't do anything else.
Yeah.
All it does is put a tarnish on somebody's reputation who doesn't care.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Exactly.
They don't care anyway. Now, if you wrap that and tie that all back in, though, there were some good wins.
Yes.
From the Supreme Court.
There was.
Especially on the bathrooms and the, girls and boys playing in girl sports and all of that stuff. There were some big wins on all that. And I do think that people are getting more common sense. I personally do.
Yes.
Because I see it out and about. But if we don't tighten the wrench and win the midterms, which the margin is so small right now.
It is.
So
that's why
small.
We got to go in droves, go in big packs.
Because we only have the House by time.
And then you see even the people that, have an R by their name that are not obviously doing the will of their people and their constituents by not voting the way they know their constituents want them to vote.
Mhm.
That means we need to fight harder in all these other places that are just deep, deep blue areas, and keep our people in line and win out the ones, because somebody put up a map about if the Save America Act was implemented and done correctly, and I'm talking about the map. Now, it was different shades of red, but the majority was red, even in California. Almost every single state was just a majority red. It's because most people, like, their
Because
voices
most
are not
people,
getting
except
heard.
for the blue inner cities,
Pockets,
it's
but
the inner blue cities.
yeah. And I mean, somebody brought it up, and this is a good, because they always want to talk about this popular vote thing. The population of Los Angeles has more population than, I'm trying to think of the state. There's a whole
Well,
state
definitely
that,
more than
like
us.
Ohio or
No, it's more than us.
yeah. And I mean, it's their population just in that one area is bigger than some of these states.
Oh yeah.
So if we go by popular vote, like we've said before, it's going to be California and New York that are going to basically pick every single federal,
Every single one
election. No, I don't want that to happen.
No.
This is why they set up the Electoral College. This is why, I mean, again, America is the best country in the world. People strive to be this way. And some places are starting to have leaders that get it. And maybe down the road, there may be some countries that get closer to the way America is run. But, we need to still be the example, and we don't need to lose our way. One of the things, though, that did come out of this, which I was very happy about, is that the temporary protected status is going away for a lot of these Haitians and Syrians. And we have a clip of Steve Miller talking about it. It's just kind of interesting. He brings up a past issue in a different administration.
Well, so first of all, there you see that throwback from Janet Napolitano, who said there's an earthquake in Haiti, which, by the way, is total BS that we have TPS for earthquakes. But put that aside. There's an earthquake in Haiti, so she's announcing TPS for a few months while they're recovering from an earthquake. That was in 2010, 15 years ago. Then the Biden administration, in its last year, extends TPS to every single illegal alien from Haiti while they are flying them en masse into Springfield, Ohio, across the Midwest. It was a formal policy of replacing the communities that lived in, settled, and sustained these communities for generations. It was one of the most heinous things this government has ever done. And yes, under President Trump, let me be very clear. The illegal alien Haitians are going back to Haiti. They can build their country there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is for real. Go back to your country and make it happen there. Yes. Seriously. Temporary means temporary for a reason.
Kim, do you know how young, like the founding fathers and how young, like the people involved with the signing of the Declaration, which it didn't all happen on July 4th.
No,
I mean, it was a process, but a lot of it did. But these ideas of this country, that beautiful country that we live in, was like a 21-year-old. And George Washington was considered an elderly man because back then the average, I was just reading a new book I got about the history of the Declaration. And I've only made it through one chapter, and this is so interesting, but 44 years old was considered an old man because the average age of a man then was between 51 and 55, and they died.
All right.
Because there was all kind of fevers and all kind of diseases and all kind of
medical
war, a lot of war killed a lot of people. But George Washington, and then one was like 21, and one, I mean, super young, but it's still there. And one day I want to go there. It's a pub, a PUB, not a bar, a little bit different than a pub.
Mm-hmm.
But they had food and whatever they drank back then. I don't even know. But it's still there in D.C. It's kind of like a museum, but you can still go in there or whatever. But so at the time, the next day after they signed the Declaration of Independence, they went to celebrate there, and it was only 20 people basically involved with all of that. Only
Yeah.
20 people. Isn't that crazy? And their bar tab or their pub tab for a sandwich or whatever they got, a couple of beers, whatever, that tab would have been $15,000 today.
Wow.
And it was a huge tab for back then. It was like $20.
Wow.
That would be 15 grand now.
Yeah.
That's insane. But that's where they went and celebrated. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to go check that place out
It's still
one
there.
day.
So I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard really, really good reviews on Young Washington, a
Me
movie that's
too.
out
I
right
haven't
now, and
seen
it's
it.
very popular. It's like number 2, I
Mhm.
believe, in the country right now. And yeah, I heard some people talking about it, and I'm just like, I need to go see that. So I mean, it says it really does though go through the history of
actual, right.
George Washington and how how he came about to be the father of the country, right?
Right.
It literally gives you the story. So
That's cool. And it's an angel film, which is great.
yes, that's always good. And so as we wrap this up, and I think every time that we end a show right now until the midterms, I think I just want to challenge everybody to look up who's running in your area, what all candidates you would be voting for. Do your research, go out and talk about it to your neighbors, and spread the word. Let's do like we did in 24. I mean, it happened in 24. We can do it again. We've got to get better. We got to get better people from both sides of the aisle. We've got to get better people in here.
And
hold some people accountable, and kick some people out.
And for a Mississippi moment, just a Mississippi moment, 2 things. First, the ex-mayor and them all pled guilty. Bye-bye.
Yes.
Good for them. Good for us.
We knew it.
We already knew it anyway. But second, there's a lot of elections coming up this year and next year
Yes.
for Mississippi. And do not think that this state is automatically conservative, because it's not. Do not think that so-and-so, your friend, will just automatically win. That's not the way it works, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
These socialists, they're not just in New York, they're everywhere. They're embedding themselves in small congressional districts. That's how they get going. That's how they get going. City councils, that's how they get going, those small congressional districts. So be aware, pay attention. Also, many, many, many judges are coming up this November. Don't forget the judges out there.
That's right.
Make
they make
sure
a
you
huge
think
impact.
Smart.
Yes.
They think smart. They make a huge impact here. We're big fans of judges here because we have some good ones, but there's a lot of them that aren't so good.
Right.
So just keep all that in mind.
And we'll keep y'all updated on some of the candidates. Hopefully, if we get a holler at some, we may see some here that we can ask questions to. So just like I said, we're back. We're getting schedules kind of arranged. We're going to be back on a normal schedule, but we will be back. So keep updated with D&K Podcast, because we've got some, we got some really heavy hitting shows coming up. And of course, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, you can listen to Daryl Arnold and Unleashed, 6:30 to 8 o'clock you can listen to it here locally on 104.3 FM.
Yeah, the podcast is doing really well. It's available everywhere. And it's Unleashed Media and Talk, and there's no A-N-D. It's the N sign. And Apple, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, all that stuff. And radio's still on TuneIn. It's got a lot of commercials, or unless you have a subscription, you don't have any. Some people have a subscription to TuneIn.
And can I challenge people? Write a review, because that does
Please.
actually bump that bump. So you want to support Daryl, write a review, 5 stars only. And you know, let's get it, let's bump them up. This is how we support each other here. So
Yeah, and
another challenge.
please support the really, really, really gigantic, huge, big show, which is tomorrow morning, because it's every Tuesday morning for the most part, unless unless something bad's going on.
Schedules arranged. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it doesn't.
Tuesday mornings, same time, 6:30 to 8 a.m., 104.3 FM. And on their social media, on Facebook, go ahead and add it.
YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.
Right,
Twitter
go ahead and add it.
That's right.
You know, the really big show.
Really huge, gigantic, glamtastic.
And I did hear things in the hallway. I think Frank is going to be on fire tomorrow morning, so you probably want to listen to it.
Yes. Got some catching up to do because he was out of town last week. So, 2 weeks missed. He's got some stuff that's going to be, pulling out from underneath his sleeve.
You might need to get on that pedestal right there. And
let's see. Can it hold him?
I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Please share this, bump D&K
please.
podcast up. Again, we're getting back on a regular schedule. So you'll see us every Monday at 5-ish, depending on when we get our stuff together. But we want it to be right for you guys. So join us next week.
Speaking of Frank, he's the one who makes it happen back there in the booth. So we appreciate all that.
I'm going to get him a microphone someday. I'm going to get him a microphone. He's just going to be like the faceless person, because he won't. There's so many times that I get messages as I'm talking, and I'm just like, I wish I just had a microphone back there.
Well, it's not like he's scared of one.
Oh no, he's not.
All right, you guys have a great week, and I'm glad you all had a fantastic 4th of July weekend, or I hope you all did. I know I did.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.